Good evening. I got some rest this week, so I know whether it's morning or evening. The first reading and the gospel really go together hand in hand, and as I had Mass earlier today, the opening prayer, the collect from this Mass, really kind of spoke to me and helped me to better tie them together. So we heard, Almighty and merciful God, graciously keep from us all adversity, so that unhindered in mind and body alike we may pursue in freedom of heart the things that are yours. So we're asking God to keep all things of this world that prevent us from doing his will, keep those from us so that we may be free to follow after him, to pursue him, and to do his will. First reading, we've got Elijah, and he comes and meets this widow who, she's sad, pitiful little thing going around gathering up little tiny sticks to burn that'll, barely be enough for a fire. And Elijah sees her and he says, "Hey, can you bring me something to drink?" Gets him a drink, right? "Oh, can you get me something to eat?" She's like, I'm gathering these last few little sticks together, and I've got this little handful of flour left in the jar and just a little bit of water. I'm going to make little cakes for my son and I. We're going to eat them, and then we're going to die, because that's it. There's nothing left. Really sad. Elijah ignores her, though. He says, "Yeah, just go make the cakes anyway. You'll be fine. Trust me." Of course, Elijah's a prophet. He knows what will happen, and the jar of flour doesn't run empty. The jug of oil doesn't run dry, because in her generosity to Elijah, God recognized her faithfulness. And so we recognize that when God calls us to give of ourselves to him, he means completely. Don't hold anything back. Don't just give a little bit, but give your whole self. Really trust in God. And then in the gospel, Jesus is watching his people put their money into the treasury. How judgmental of Jesus to sit there and look at what people are putting in the offertory and judging them for it. Where does he get off doing that? And so Jesus is there, right? And he sees the wealthy people come up with their, nice clothing, and they put in these large sums of money, right? Okay, good. The temple's going to be able to, keep the lights on for another week. Temple's going to be able to have its air conditioning turned down real low to keep everybody comfortable. And then he sees this widow. She comes up and she drops in just these two little measly coins. Not going to do anything. It's not really going to help the temple's operations to continue. It's just a few pennies. But Jesus says she gave more than everybody else. I'm not good at math. My math class in the seminary was taught by our Latin professor, because it was Euclidean geometry, because we were doing classical education. So I'm really not good at math, but I'm pretty sure that a few cents, as opposed to great sums of money that the rich people put in, that the few cents isn't more than the great sums of money. But Jesus is using Jesus math, and he says, no, that's more. Percent? What? I'm getting to that. Don't steal my... You're a math teacher, aren't you? Exactly. So the Jesus math, as I was saying, looks and recognizes this woman gave of herself completely. She gave all that she had. Right? We see that in the first reading as well. The widow, she gives all that she has to feed Elijah. And she's nourished for it. Now, that doesn't mean that we should, listen to kooky preachers out there like Joel Osteen in Texas, who says, give all your money and, God will, bless you and you'll, your money will increase. That doesn't work really either, and it doesn't really say that anywhere in the gospel. That's called the prosperity gospel, and it's false. But what we do know is that if we entrust ourselves completely to God, radically abandon ourselves to him, then he's going to be able to show us his plan a lot better. We're going to be able to follow after him in a much purer way. So, yes, while Jesus is talking about, money here, I think we can extrapolate it to plenty of other stuff. Besides, I've talked about money too much in the last few weeks. I'm tired of it. And then I read the gospel this week, and I said, oh, no, not again. Not more money. But it can be expanded to any aspect of our life, right? God is asking for us to give of ourselves in our relationships. He's asking for us to give of ourselves in our family. He's asking for us to entrust our family to him. He's asking for us to entrust our marriage to him. He's asking for us to entrust our work and, yes, our finances to him. He's asking us to entrust our school. He's asking us to entrust our whole lives to him, not just a little bit. Not just, okay, you can have this little part because it won't hurt me to give it to you. Right? I can give you the hour on Sunday because I already do that and it's not going to hurt. But to do something more might require sacrifice. To give of myself more completely, more fully, as the widow did, trusting that God will provide for me, and trusting my cares and my worries and my sorrows, trusting all those parts of my life that I think I can fix, I'm going to make better, or I've got under control already. I don't need any more help with it. All of those things that we think to ourselves and we say, no, I don't need to give anything more to God. He's getting enough. Jesus says the reason that the widow's higher percentage that she gave was a more worthy gift wasn't because of the size, wasn't even because of the percentage, but because she didn't give from her surplus. She didn't give from what she had left over. I think for a lot of us, perhaps Sunday rolls around and it's like, oh, it's Sunday. It's the last day. Weekend's over. Got to go back to work tomorrow. Got to go back to school tomorrow. So, okay, it's Sunday. And then, okay, 5 o'clock Mass, last chance, unless, does somewhere else have a later Mass than this? St. Anne's? Didn't someone have like a 9 o'clock Mass or something? Yeah, Kennesaw State, theirs is 9 p.m. Yeah, so like if you really have, then yeah, you got 9 p.m., you got to go to Kennesaw State. Father Bob's there, he's great. But we just kind of like drag ourselves along. It's like, okay, we've got to get ready for the next week, and I don't want to do another week because I got to go to the office and I got to deal with this issue, and then I've got to talk to my kids' school about this issue, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that, and I've got to do all the stuff I don't want to do. But okay, I'll go to church. I'll go to church. And then you come to church, and, a lot of people, they come to church and they want to be told, everything's great. We're all awesome. Everything's fine. Jesus is, just like a magic wizard that makes everything good for us. But you come to St. Clair, and so you hear like, hey, we got to do better in our lives. We got to try to be holier. We've got to reject sin. We've got to try to be more like Christ. We've got to give of ourselves more completely, like the widows in today's readings. Not just saying, okay, this is what I got left over at the end of the week. Here's my little bit of time, God. But rather using this time, using our Sunday Mass as an opportunity to reinvigorate ourselves so that we can go into the world and we can say, yes, Lord, I desire to do your will in all things. I dedicate everything to you. I dedicate all that I do to you. I dedicate all that I say to you. I dedicate my interactions to you. We talk about transforming the world. If we really did that, if we didn't worry about what other people thought about us, if we didn't worry about how other people responded, if we didn't worry about all the things of the world that kind of hold us back and cause us worry, if we didn't think about money at all, can you imagine that? Not thinking about money at all? If we didn't think about, strained relationships, if we didn't think about, just the difficulties that we encounter throughout the week. If we could just think about God, if we could just focus on God and say, yeah, God, I know those realities are there. I can't just ignore them. I can't just, go up a mountain and become a monk because I've got a life, I've got a family. But God, can I just entrust all of that to you? Can I ask you to take control? Can I ask that you really, truly be the Lord of my life? We would transform the world. So why don't we? We're weak. We like the ways of the world. We like the things of the world. right? We like to be comfortable. That's why the air conditioning's set so low, because we like to be comfortable. That's why some of you have coats on, because our definitions of comfortable differ. It's true, the priest is, married to the church, right? It's kind of the image that we have, so I like the air conditioning cold. And my bride, the church, is saying, no, turn it up, it's too cold. But are we willing to let go of those things? Are we willing to say, you know what, God, I don't have to have all the answers? Do you know that it's possible to not have to have all the answers? I struggle with that sometimes, because surely I can find the answer to it, right? Even if I don't know off the top of my head, I'll find the answer. God is telling me that I need to wrap it up. Because indeed I don't have all the answers. But I think that the very important thing for us to get from these two readings is, again, how can we give of ourselves in a more free way? That leads us to freedom. It leads us to freedom to give of ourselves. If we don't, if we're stingy, if we're, hoarding things, if we're kind of keeping everything to ourselves, we're not free, we're enslaved. We're stuck. We can't get out. Who here has seen Citizen Kane? I know it's kind of an old movie, but it's like one of the best movies of all time. It's about 3.5 hours, but you should, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's a story about this, magnate that he, it's like one of those backward stories. Like the Seinfeld episode that goes in reverse. It's kind of like that. Totally different plot. But here's this man that spent his life kind of building up riches and, hoarding all sorts of wealth and accumulating all sorts of things. And, there's nothing wrong with that if you use it well. But he just kind of kept everything to himself. He lost his friends. He lost his wife. And in the end of the movie, the beginning of the movie really, he dies by himself. And he utters the word rosebud as he dies, and he drops this snow globe. And it's not until the very end of the movie, when they're going through cleaning out all of his stuff, taking out all the just junk that he had in his house, that you see they find this little wooden sled and they throw it in the furnace with all the other stuff that they're trying to get rid of. And as it burns, you see rosebud flash up on it. You go all the way back to the beginning of his life, and he was born into a poor family, and his parents took him to a boarding school and entrusted him to this wealthy businessman to kind of raise him and teach him the ways. And right as they were dropping their son off at the boarding school, you see him outside playing on this little sled that says Rosebud on it. And so it's showing us that all of the worldly possessions that we could have, all the riches, all the stuff, all the pleasure, all the good stuff, in the end it burns away. In the end it's nothing. In the end the moths eat it. And the things that really are important, the things that really matter, family, friends, if they're not there, then what's the point? And so we have to ask ourselves in our own lives, am I living a free, generous life? Again, not just talking about money, but giving of my time, giving of my service, giving of my knowledge or giving of my expertise, giving of whatever it is that I'm asked to give. Or do I begrudge that? Do I begrudge when people ask me for something? Do I begrudge when people ask me for help? Do I begrudge when people ask me to do them a favor? Or like the widows, am I free and recognize, hey, everything that I have is from God, and so I'm going to use it here in this limited time that I have on earth for His glory. I'm going to use it to do His will. I'm going to use it to bring others closer to Him. So as we continue with this Mass, let us reflect on that in our own lives. Are we generous with ourselves? Do we desire to give and not count the cost? Do we desire to be more like Christ? Let us ask Him for the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, that indeed we may continue to grow more and more in generosity so that we may become more like Him.